Hi, in this video I'm going to talk you through downloading the Java development kit and writing your first Java program and some fundamental Java concepts about the language. Okay, so first of all, in order to compile and run a Java program, you need to have installed on your computer the Java development kit from Oracle. So in order to get that, what I suggest you do is fire up your browser and just type for do a search for JDK. And the first link you get is to the Oracle website. And you see a link to download JDK. In this case, it's JDK 8 Update 60. So you click download. And if you're on Windows, I suggest you take the Windows 64 or Windows 86 if you're on an older version of Windows, or you can get the Mac version or the Linux version. So you click the download button and you got to accept the license agreement. So then you should be able to download the JDK. So I've already downloaded the JDK because it takes about 2 minutes to download. So what I'm going to do now is going to install the JDK on this computer. Okay, so I'm going to click the next button. Don't want the source code, so I'm going to choose this feature will not be available. Click next, and the Java development kit installs. Okay, so now we have the Java development kit installed. Now I should say I have my Java development kit installed on this computer. I'm going to see if I can get access to the Java tools from the command line. So I'm running Windows 10 here, so I just click on the start, and I'm going to type CMD to fire up the command prompt on Windows, and just type Java C, which is the Java compiler. So if you do that, you'll see that you should get this error here. Java C is not recognized, and that's because we need to add the Java C compiler to the system path. On Windows, the easiest way to do that is to navigate to where Java has been installed on your computer, and that's normally C. So you basically go to this PC or my computer, go to C drive, go to program files, and look for Oracle. Oh, not Oracle. Is it under Java? There we go, Java. So there's the JDK 1.8.0. So just click on that, click on the bin folder. And this is where all the Java executable programs are, and this is the folder that we need to add to the path. So the way I do this is I just go up to the this little box here on Windows Explorer that shows you your folder, and I press Control and C to copy that path. So now, because I'm on Windows 10, this works on most versions of Windows as well. I'm going to go and type path, and you'll see that the second option here is edit the first option, edit the system environment variables for your path. So because you can have different sets of environment variables for every user on Windows, I suggest you edit the system environment variables rather than the environment variables. And this way, these settings apply for all users of Windows on this computer. So you get the systems property thing, click on environment variables, and yeah, you don't want user variables. Sometimes it does that and then it gets confused between which ones it's actually using. I would suggest you go to system variables, not user variables. And in fact, let's see what that one actually says. That's just for Docker stuff. So an RPM, I'm going to take this actually. This is from the system when you shouldn't even have this setting, or at least I shouldn't have this setting. So I'm going to delete it and add those to the system variables path if it's not already set on your computer. In my case, it might have already been set, but the user variables were probably overriding the system variables for Java for this computer. Unfortunately, in computers, things are complicated, and sometimes you want things to work one way, but they don't. So this is how I've resolved this problem of Java not being on the path. Anyway, yeah, what I'll do is I'll come back here, find this folder again, the bin folder. I'm going to copy that bin folder from this little folder thingy here in Windows Explorer, minimize it, come over to my system path, and I'm going to add it to the end of the system path. So all I've done is press Control and End to jump to the end of the field here, and press semicolon, and then Control and V to paste in that value that I've copied from the Windows Explorer path, and click on OK. Click on OK here, click on OK. Now the one little sometimes thing that can trip people up is they think, okay, I've done that now, so I'll just type Java C. Still doesn't work. The reason why is because you actually have to restart the shell. So I have two shells installed in this computer. I've got the DOS prompt and also the bash shell. Maybe I'll try the bash shell for this one. If you've installed Git for Windows, you'll get the bash shell, and you should all install the bash shell on your Windows computers and use Git for Windows. rather than use the Windows command prompt. Okay, actually, maybe I'll just, yeah, let's use this one. Okay, so here we go. This is the bash shell. If I just type pwd, shows me the folder that I'm currently in. I'm currently in C users scoop folder. I'm going to cd into the documents folder. Then I'm going to cd into my courses folder. Actually, I should just test to see if Java was installed. Java C. Okay, so now the Java C program is run. If I was actually on a Windows DOS prompt as well, that would also work. CMD, I'll just show you here. And if I just type Java C, it'll also run from the Windows DOS prompt. All of these commands will work from probably either the Windows DOS prompt or this git bash shell that I prefer to use. So I'm in the courses folder. I'm going to cd into OOP. Let's do an ls first of all. DT228. Okay, so CD DT228. CD stands for change directory, of course. OOP 2015. And then in here, I'm going to type CD into the Java folder. Let's just do ls to make sure it's empty. So I happen to have a folder here just to show you that I've previously created. I'll go into documents and show you in courses, DT228 OOP 2015. You'll see that this is just a folder that I've created inside that courses DT228 2015 folder. This is a Java folder here. All right, I'm going to make another folder here, mkdir, and let's call this Hello World. So here's the Hello World folder. We could just put our Java source code here, but the convention in Java is that you put your source code into what's called a Java package. So I think we should follow the convention here. And the convention for naming your packages, you can name them whatever you like, right? I'm showing you this now, even though it's maybe not quite, you think you can do without this, but it's quite important to get into this habit of putting your classes inside packages from day one, right? So inside Java world, I'm going to create a folder called IE. And inside here, I'm going to create another folder for DIT. And inside here, I'm going to create a new text document. This is one way to do it. And I'm going to call this text document, I'm going to call this hello world.java. All right, so I'm in IE.dit hello world, and there's a file called hello world.java. So Windows will ask you if you want to change the file name extension, and you are definitely sure you want to change it. One thing you have to be very careful of, right? A lot of people, this trips them up when they get started, first of all. Windows, by default, when you create a text file, will put the txt extension at the end of the file. So it's quite important that you go on to View and that you have this option here which says File Name Extensions. This should always be checked for if you're doing any kind of development work on your PC. You want to see the actual file name extensions. Because otherwise what can happen is you go here, you go New Text Document, and it looks like it's called hello world.java, but it's actually called hello world.java.txt. So file name extensions should be checked when you're doing this, okay? So there's hello world.java, and I'm going to edit this in the Notepad++ program. So Notepad++ is just an editor for Windows, okay? So here's hello world.java, and I'm going to put the basic sort of hello world code in here. So the first line that's typically in any Java program is we need to specify the package, okay? So we're in a folder called IE.dit, and the folder that you're in must also match with the package declaration at the top of the Java file. So I'm going to go package IE.dit. All right. So packages in Java are a way of disambiguating between similar named classes. So there could be a class, for example, called Vector3 in different, they could be have the same name, but because they're in different packages, they're considered to be different classes. And it's a way of disambiguating between classes which have the same name. So here's package IE.dit hello world. And now I'm going to put in my class. So I go public public class. This goes to the top of every Java class file. And now the next thing, the file is called hello world.java. The class must also be called hello world. In Java, the file name that contains your class must be the same name as the class. All right, so public class hello world. So every kind of program has this concept of an entry point. If you've used processing, you'll know that the entry point for processing is the setup method in the sketch. This is the first thing that gets executed. But for an ordinary Java program, the first thing that gets executed is a special method called a main method. And the main method looks like this. Public static void main. Yep, so I'm just checking my notes there. Public static void main. And main takes one argument, which is an array of strings. So string args. And then you put your code in here. So I want to explain a few of these terminologies. First of all, a class in Java encapsulates some sort of object that you want to keep track of. And one of the first lessons that you learn when you start programming in an object-oriented framework is to separate your code into classes and methods within those classes. So class typically has got fields, which are the thing that the class stores, and it also has methods, which are the things that the class does. So you might think in the real world of person objects and student records and classes or cars or things like that in the real world. And that's a good way for people to get their heads around what object-oriented programming is all about. In Java, we make we have this class here called Hello World, right? In this class Hello World, it's a public class, which means it can be used outside of the package ie.dit. And there's a few other things to note here as well. Static on this method main means that this method main can be called without an instance of the class being created. So that means that you don't have to create an instance of Hello World in order to call the main method. So then that's kind of how it means. Okay, so we'll just do our simple kind of Hello World type message here, which would be something like system dot out dot println, and then we pass in a string that we want to print. So I'm going to go hello world exclamation mark, and I'm going to click the save button here, and this is my Java class. So a couple of other little things of note here. System dot out dot println, and Java being a case sensitive language, system begins with an uppercase S. This is how you print stuff to the console in Java. And it's just a method that you call, you pass in the string that you want to print. This args here will be any command line arguments that are passed into this program. They're really easy to capture in this args array. I'll show you how to do that in a minute. So I've made a directory, I've got my file in the package. It's now time to compile and run this little Hello World Java program. So to compile and run a Java program, you use the command javac. This is the thing that was in that folder, the bin folder earlier on that we added to the system path. So I type javac, and now I need to give it the name of the the name of the class that I wanted to compile. And the name of this class is Hello World, but it's in the folder ie.dit because it's in the package ie.dit. So you type javac ie/dit, and you can use a wildcard here, star.java, and it will compile every Java. Why did that not work? ie.dit. File not found, ie.dit star.java. Let me make sure we're in the right place. pwd, print working directory. So I'm in Java, sorry, yeah. So we need to cd, if I type ls here, yeah, I need to cd into the Hello World folder, Hello World, and then I'll do another ls here. So now I can see that's the folder IE is underneath this. So now hopefully when I do javac ie/dit/star.java, press enter, it will have compiled that Java file into a class file. A class file is the binary output of the compilation process, which can be executed by what's called a Java virtual machine. The Java virtual machine is the thing that takes a Java compiled program and runs it on the host operating system. So that's my Java program compiled. It's time to now go and run the Java program. So to run the Java program, you type Java, and this is the runtime which invokes, this is the exe that invokes the Java runtime. So I want to run ie.dit.hello world. And there we go, it prints out hello world. So just again to be clear about how these package things work, when I do ie.dit.hello world, the current directory is on what's called a class path in Java. In other words, it's one of the places Java will look for to find compiled Java programs. So ie.dit.hello world means look inside the folder IE. Inside that, look for a folder called dit, and inside that, look for a class called hello world. And you notice you don't put the .class at the end of this. This takes the fully qualified Java class name as opposed to the folder or the file that you want to run. So that's my Hello World Java program. Let's move on to doing something with objects in this Hello World Java program. Let's go and create a person object. So I'm just going to click. This is a different way, I guess, maybe of creating this. There's my new tab here, and I'm going to go package. Yeah, first thing that goes in is the package. Package ie.dit, and let's put semicolon, and let's save this file. So I want it also in the same folder. You know, it's in the folder hello world ie.dit, and this file, let's just call it person .java. And because Notepad will put the extension txt at the end of it if I don't fiddle with this thing here. Here we go, Java source file, better, okay. So it's a Java source file. When I click save, it has saved it as a Java source file. I'm just going to double check Camtasia, make sure it's still recording and my audio is still recording. Excellent. Okay. So here's person.java, and we're going to make the person class, right? So I go public class person. And I'm going to put a couple of fields on this person object. The first field that I'm going to put on this person object is the person's name. Let's do this the right way in Java. private, private string person. This is kind of the Java way. It's rather long-winded. And that's that you make, sorry, not person, that should be name. That you make name private, and that you make what are called accessor methods for these fields. And this in Java is a rather long-winded way of saying that you make a method which gives you access to the field. Now, again, the Java way is that you make the fields in the class. In other words, the thing that the person is, or the thing that the person has. In other words, a person has a name, a person has an age, a person has, you know, a hair color, things like that, that you make that field private, which means that the field name can only be accessed inside this class by methods inside this class. So to get access to that outside the class, you make what are called accessors. And an accessor looks like this, public. You make them public, which means they can be accessed outside the class. Public string get name. And all this does is it returns the name field, URN name, and that you make a setter equivalent, public void set name. And what set name does is it takes something in, it has a message, if you like, message name, and it assigns the parameter to the method to be, or assigns the field in the class to be the parameter. So you then go this.name is equals to name. So this.name equals to name is another little weird thing in Java. So if you look at this method here, it's clear that this is an example of a variable hiding, because there's a variable called name here, and there's also a a field on the class called name. So you use this .name here to disambiguate between this name and this name here. This .name means the name field that is owned by the instance of the class, and this name as a parameter here is referring to name as a parameter. So there's two variables that happen to have the same name, if you like, and using this disambiguates between the two of them. That's exactly what the term that's used is to describe what this is used for. We'll also make a constructor for this person as well. Constructor is a method that gets called automatically when the object gets created. And you can put any kind of code in here that you want to maybe initialize. If you wanted to give an initial value to the name, or any fields you wanted to give initial values, a good place to put them is in the constructor. You can also make what's called a parameterized constructor. And a parameterized constructor, and let's just make this public as well so it can be called outside the class. A parameterized constructor is a constructor that takes a parameter. Okay, so you can go person string name. And again, another bit of Java weirdness is that very often you see code like this. Instead of actually going and just going name, it's the same stuff. This dot name equals the name parameter. Again, like I say, another bit of Java weirdness is that people sometimes go like this: set name, and call the set name method. with a name. And this is real OO stuff. This is the kind of stuff you see in Java books. Okay, so I'm not calling set name. And let's make a method on this field. Public void say hello. So this method say hello is just going to print the string. System system.out.println, and I'm going to just say hello. Oop. My name is, and he's going to print his name, so let's call it getName method here. Oh, it looks very long-winded, but sometimes Java code is very long-winded, and that's just the way things are in Java. Okay, so let's just recap what we just did. Okay, so I've got a person class here. My person class is inside the ie.dit package. The ie.dit package refers to a folder, which is ie.dit on my file system, and this is the root of this package is where I'm going to run all my Java commands from. So public class person indicates the person is a class. A class is something we use to encapsulate two things. Remember, one, some fields, in other words, things that the person has, and also some methods, which are basically things that the person can do. So this person can say hello, and it has a name. That's what this code we made indicates. This word private here, this means that this field name can only be accessed by methods inside the class. So I can't actually use this field, outside the class. In order to get access to this, I make these two things here, which are called accessors. This is one that allows me to retrieve the person's name, and this is one that allows me to set the person's name. In this example here, I use this keyword this to disambiguate between the name field and the name parameter. This is what's called a default or a no argument constructor. It's a method that gets called automatically when the object gets created. This is a parameterized constructor that takes one parameter and then sets the name to be the parameter. This is what we call a method on the person class, and this method just is going to print some stuff out. A couple of little naming conventions. Very important that the constructor name is the same as the class name. The class name must be the same as the person.java file name. The convention in Java is that methods begin with a lowercase character. So you go say with lowercase and then H with an uppercase. Okay, so that's my person. Over here in Hello World, we can instantiate a person object by going person. Let's call this Brian. Equals new person. And then we can this time call the two parameter constructor. So let me pass in Brian like that. So this is the two parameter constructor. The variable name is Brian, and now the field inside the person object, the name field, is going to be the string Brian as well. And then I can go Brian.say hello. The dot in this example here, the dot in Java basically means that say hello is a method on this instance of an object. An instance of an object, or an instance of a class is like a template, and then the instance refers to the actual person in the computer's memory when the memory is actually allocated for it, right? So I've got one person here called Brian. Let's make sure this works, and then we'll create a second example of it. So first of all, I'm going to run java c iedit/star.java and compile it. Amazingly, it compiled without any errors. So then when we run java ie.dit hello world, we print out hello world, and then it instantiates the new person object and calls say hello on it. And you can instantiate as many person objects as you like. So there's person Brian, and let's go another person, Kira, equals new person Kira, and then you can go CIA dot say hello, semicolon, and I'm going to save hello world and Java C compile it, and then Java compile it. And there's two objects created. All right, that's the end of my short introduction to the Java programming language.